والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما. اللهم ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him. And peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him. And he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, our session number 19, inshallah. We are in the Seerah session. Still, we are in the context of talking about the different ways and methods, how the disbelievers, the mushrikeen of Mecca, they were trying to fight the new da'wah. So we said the first method that they used, torturing. So they used to torture the Sahaba. We highlighted some of the stories, and they did a lot of harm to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the very early beginning. Then, last time, we highlighted some examples about what they call the maneuvering and temptation. إغراء ومراوغة. Okay? Try to, okay, لعل وعسى. Perhaps. We highlighted last time one of the very powerful examples. Remember the person who went to negotiate with the Prophet Muhammad? No, the negotiator. Utbah bin Rabi'a, yes, Jazakallah khair. Utbah bin Rabi'a. The one who said, why not to leave me to negotiate with Muhammad? You don't know that. And the main idea was, oh Muhammad, if you want to be our king, we will let you be our king. If you want the money, we will gather the money. If you want to be the boss, if you want to be the one who's in charge, we will do it. If we want to, whatever, if you have a problem with jinn and demons and you have some kind of health problem, in our words now, we will go to some kind of witches and something and magicians to heal you, whatever. Just simply stop doing what you are doing. So that was last time, and you remember, Prophet Muhammad recited Surah فصلت بشيرا ونذيرا فأعرض أكثرهم. And I kept reciting to the degree when Utbah bin Rabi'a returned back to his people, those who were waiting and watching, they said what? والله لقد عاد بغير الوجه الذي ذهب به. Look, he was influenced, he did something for him. Then he came and he said, really he was wise. Look, wise, but mushrik. He did not use his wisdom in the right place, unfortunately. He said, look, wallahi, what he has is something unique. Let him do whatever he's wanting. Don't fight him. If he conquered everyone else, it will be your honor because he is part of you. He's Hashim, he's Qurayshi, he's Meccans. And if others demolished him, simply, why to waste your time with him? This is his, let's say, political way of thinking. They say, Wallah qad saharaka Abu al-Walid. It seems he did some magic for you, Utbah bin Rabi'a. Anyway, this was one of the methods of pressuring. Today, we will highlight a third method. Today's method is what is called أسلوب طلب الخوارق. They were asking for what they say in English, the paranormal things, such as the physical miracles. So, تفجر لنا من الأرض ينبوعا, or do that such and such. So we'll be reading some of the hadith about this, and we will highlight the concept of طلب الخوارق. طلب الخوارق, which means they wanted something. Okay, if you are a prophet, okay, do for us such and such, do such and such, change the mountains, remove the mountains, let this piece of land, the Mecca, be a very nice place for agriculture, let us be able to plant, turn as-safa into gold of amount of gold, which means do such and such. If not, you can't prove for us that you are a prophet. This is the physical miracles. Now, this is our today's topic, and it contains a lot of important things. قال أنس رضي الله عنه, it was narrated by Imam al-Bukhari في كتاب مناقب الأنصار باب انشقاق القمر. You need to know, Imam al-Bukhari narrated the following narration that I will recite now in Arabic and I will translate in English. قال أنس رضي الله عنه قال أن أهل مكة سألوا نبي الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يريهم آية فأراهم انشقاق القمر مرتين. According to Imam Bukhari, the people of Mecca, they asked Prophet Muhammad, challenging him, if you are a true, genuine prophet, show us split the moon. And it happened. Now some people, okay, how can you prove it scientifically? Who cares? Who cares? Okay? For us, if we were told that it happened, it happened. But how come? Yes, salam. Allah created everything. How come you and me were created from nothing? So please don't waste your time in this area. It happened, yes, it happened. اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر وإن يروا كل آية يعرضوا ويقولوا سحر مستمر. Who told you that even when Allah showed them a great physical miracle, they will believe? Who told you? وَإِن يَرَوْا كُلَّ آيَةٍ. Even if we kept giving them, a sign after a sign, they will not believe. Allah knows they will not. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Sorry, where's the translation of that one? Subhanallah. قال اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر. The hour has drawn near and the moon was split into two. In the footnotes of the translation in English, the Meccan pagans challenged the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to have the moon split into two. If he wanted them to believe in him, the moon was split and then rejoined, as reported by several eyewitnesses. But still, the pagans refused to believe, calling this miracle sheer magic, sihrun mustamir. So this was the first thing of challenge. Okay, do it. He did it. By the permission of Allah. Allah is the one who did it. But he responded to their need, if we put it in this way. Simply they did not believe. Then the other narration, as was narrated, عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال سأل أهل مكة النبي أن يجعل لهم الصفا ذهبا. Ibn Abbas narrated in an authentic hadith. He said, the people of Mecca asked Prophet Muhammad, challenged Prophet Muhammad, to change the mount of Safa. You know Safa and Marwa, where we do the Umrah now, from a Safa. At that time, actually, they were small mountains. So yes, now we can't see them because everything has changed and because of the expansion, the great. They asked, turn this mount into gold. قال وأن ينحي الجبال عنهم فيزدرعوا. And they challenged him, remove all the mountains around Mecca from them, let it be paved, so that we can do plantations. To have fruits and trees and like all other civilized nations. We can't have our plantation, we don't have gold, we have nothing. So okay, do it for us. قال فقيل له. Then Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was told, through Archangel Gabriel, he was told, قال إن شئت أن تستأني بهم وإن شئت أن تؤتيهم الذي سألوا. He was told, oh Muhammad, it's up to you. It's up to you أن تستأنيهم, which means to be patient with them. Be patient, which means اصبر عليهم. Accept their arrogance, keep doing da'wah, and be patient with them. This is optional, it's up to you, the decision of Muhammad. قال وإن شئت أن تؤتيهم الذي سألوا. And if you wish we will respond to your wish to bring to them what they are asking for. However, قال فإن كفروا أهلكوا كما أهلك من قبلهم. The law of Allah. If you ask for an ayah and you do not believe, you will be demolished. You will be vanished immediately to the hellfire. So no other chance. If you ask for a physical ayah, the ayah came and you refuse, Allah will destroy. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, قال لا بل أستأني بهم. No, I will be patient with them. He was out of his mercy because he knows some of them they will refuse. He does not want them to be punished because he knows that many of them they will not accept this. قال فأنزل الله عز وجل هذه الآية وما منعنا أن نرسل بالآيات إلا أن كذب بها الأولون. Now the translation of this. وما منعنا أن نرسل بالآيات إلا أن كذب بها الأولون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. قال وما منعنا أن نرسل بالآيات إلا أن كذب بها الأولون وآتينا ثمود الناقة مبصرة فظلموا بها وما نرسل بالآيات إلا تخويفا. Nothing keeps us. طبعا this is the majestic we. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we, نون العظمة in Arabic, okay? Nothing keeps us from sending the demanded signs. They were asking for signs. Nothing keeps us from sending the demanded signs except that they had already been denied by earlier people. And we gave Thamud the she-camel as a clear sign, but they wrongfully rejected it. We only sent the signs as a warning. Which means Allah is telling us, everyone previously they asked and they kept on being kuffar. So don't think that the fact that you are witnessing khalas, okay, it will finish. So sometimes some of the evidences, some people say, okay, prove it to me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قالوا إنما سكرت أبصارنا. Allah was telling them, ولو فتحنا عليهم بابا من السماء فظلوا فيه يعرجون. If Allah opened like an opening, a door, a gate, a crack, whatever, into heavens, and He enabled them by a way, okay, to be descending in heavens to see something, they will start saying, look to the magician, how clever is he? He's doing magic for us. Okay, which means when arrogance from inside, previously I don't want to believe whatever, is given, rejection will be, unfortunately, will be from their side. Let me just, yes.
For the law of if they ask for a physical evidence and they were provided, and if they don't believe, they will be demolished. Why it didn't happen when the Qamar had been split into two?
Wallahu a'lam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we say وَمَا مَنَعْنَا أَن نُرْسَلْ, at a certain time, Allah gives some of the signs. He will not stop them completely, but insisting on the continuous signs after sign, it could lead to the full punishment for everyone. But by the way, let me just explain something. Now, in our understanding as Muslims, these signs we do not call them mu'jizat. They are not miracles. The definition of miracle for us as Muslims is what the Prophet brings as a proof that he is the Prophet. For us as Muslims, our great mu'jiza, which is called mu'jiza in the Quran al-Karim. Others, according to ulama al-aqidah, they are called irhasat al-nubuwah, wadala' al-nubuwah, signs that helps you to accept his prophethood. But the dalil as a mu'jiza, and I will give the definition now of mu'jiza, basically is just al-Quran al-Karim. So some people, they say tajawuzan, which means just, we just use it, we expand the usage when they say all of the mu'jizat. Actually, academically, they are not mu'jiza. The definition of mu'jiza, miracle, in the Islamic terminology, قال ما يبعث أو ما يجريه الله من خوارق العادات على يد نبي أو رسول لإثبات نبوته. This is the definition. Anything that breaks the law of the universe, anything which is paranormal thing, anything that breaks the custom of the universe by the will of Allah as a proof that I'm a sign. For us, the true mu'jiza in this definition is the Quran. Rest, they are called them just signs, just indications. You know, other prophets, all of them nearly, they were used to have physical mu'jiza. You know, the she-camel, Isa alayhi salam, for him, he was bringing dead people into, return back to life, and to heal many chronic diseases in their time, like مش epilepsy, شو اسمه البرص شو بالانجليزي؟ Leprosy, okay. The leprosy, I said epilepsy صراحة, yes, okay. Leprosy, okay, with R, leprosy. So he used to, at that, no one had any way to heal this, so it was a sign. Musa alayhi salam, by his stick, the sea was split into two pieces. So this is direct physical miracles. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had some of these, by the way. For example, the water sprang out of his fingers, and the whole army, in one of the incidents, they drank from the water who came out of his fingers. But this, Prophet Muhammad was not challenging the kuffar with it. It happened for the believers themselves. Okay? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the time of the battle of Al-Khandaq, there were hundreds, against 10,000s of mushrikeen, Ghatafan and all Arabs, pagans, and all, the army against them. When they, did the trench. At that time, the very well-known incident, when one of the Sahaba invited him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with two, in a very small meal. He said, Ya Rasulullah, it's amazing. But we do not call it mu'jiza because he was not challenging the kuffar as a proof for his prophethood. It was a sign for the believers themselves. So for example, Muhammad, they were sitting, waiting in a very cold, very hungry. Jabir radiallahu anhu, one of the Sahaba came and said, Ya Rasulullah, we have just a small amount of food for 2 or 3 maximum. So I want to invite you. I was whistling, Ya Rasulullah, if you can come with 2 or some. He said, Wahdi ya Jabir, alone? He said it loudly. Jabir said, Ya Rasulullah, just you have just small food. Just you and 2. He said, Wahdi ya Jabir, I'm alone. Jabir did not want to do it. He said, Ya Rasulullah, you can call whoever, but he did not know what's happening. He went back immediately to his wife. He said, I don't know what to tell you. You told me that we have just to, okay, I told him, and he said it loudly for the whole army. She said, she looked to the righteous woman. She said, Ya Jabir, Prophet Muhammad knows what he's doing. Just leave it. And it was amazing. وجاء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he used to come, a group, eat, leave the room, another group come to eat from the same food, and the whole army ate from that food. How come? How come the food that your mother was eating turned to be through the blood of her body to be your food in the womb of your body? You tell me, how come? By the way, all of those could be miracles, but because we became familiar with them, we don't see them. By the way, our sight is a miracle, our hearing is a miracle, our touch is a miracle, our nerve system is a miracle. Yeah, it's amazing. Everything is amazing. But because it became part of our life, we don't feel them. Anyway, so the point they were challenging Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to bring. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his great miracle is the Quran. However, they insisted, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in that specific incident, they kept asking. He said they need to be aware that if they kept asking this, and we sent exactly what they want, in the way they want, and they refused, they will be punished. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, out of his mercy, say no. He was given the choice. But he said no, because to the best of his knowledge, they will refuse out of his mercy, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Let me explain. This is the two hadith. Now, in light of this topic, I need to add the following. Miracle, I highlighted the concept of miracle. They were asking for physical miracles. So please be careful. We Muslims, we are the only believers in the history of the chain of believers from Adam to Muhammad that we believe in a non-physical miracle. The only. So you need to understand that. So when they ask, because sometimes it happens with some Christian missionaries. They say, okay, Isa alayhi salam, he did such and such. Okay, they say Jesus Christ, the Son of God or God's incarnate. Regardless, look, he did so and so. He brought, people from death to life. But we know that for us, it's بإذن الله وأبرئ الأكمه والأبرص بإذن الله وأحيي الموتى بإذن الله, all by permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for them, they keep saying, look, he did so and so. He made a group of people, they were following him to eat just from 5 loaves of bread and just a small number of fish. The whole people, hundreds and thousands of them, they ate from it. And he helped that, young girl, she was 12 years old, brought her from death and such and such. What did your prophet do? You start thinking, wait, don't waste your time. Don't talk about physical miracles. Because even the things that Prophet Muhammad did, most of them, they were done for Muslims. Our great miracle is the Quran. You need to know that. But how come Quran is a miracle? Quran is a miracle as a constitution for humanity that no one is able to change and no one is able to bring something like or better. By the way, since that time Allah is challenging the non-believers and after that. Now, you need to know the following about the Quran. Quran's biggest, let's say, title, it's a book of guidance. This book of guidance contains, let's say, the full program for humanity, what to do, how to do it in the best way. A constitution. Some people, they don't know this, so they kept having this kind of doubt. One of the debates that happened between me and some American students, they used to attend in my class, Islamic culture in English, back in Georgia University. Every time I discuss with them talking about Islam, it's a constitution for humanity, Islam, they kept saying, religion is just a private affairs. Religion is just a spirituality. Religion is something. I said, look, please. It's not my problem if your context in your religion, you decided to change your religion in the West. It's not my problem. Don't compare Islam with Christianity. Christianity faced a very difficult, big challenge in its life. When secularism came about 200 plus years ago, they decided to take their religion into the corner and they took out of it some kind of influence. So in their context, they accepted the system of life, secularism, and they minimized their religion in the West under secularism into be Sunday services, private affairs, spirituality, good relation with God, good individual manners, which is okay, good, nice. Now, that's why for 220, 30 years continuously, many people in the West, this is the only form of religion that they have witnessed. So when he speaks with you about Islam as a religion, Ya Ammi, you troublemakers, you Muslims, why you keep making troubles in your countries against your governments? Because there is no mix between politics and religion. I said, excuse me, sir, in your context, in your system, not in mine. For me, Islam is a system of life which covers everything. Okay? Now, understanding this, go back. This is the constitution of life, and it contains solutions for your economic, social, family, ethical, international, everything it's there. Now, the big, let's say, shape, the power that was containing this is the language at that time. However, it contains some other very powerful aspects, such as the scientific miracles. I keep repeating, please fix this in your mind. Quran is not a book of science, it's a book of guidance. However, it contains many verses talk about what we call now as applied science. As a science, just to tell you that this book is not from anyone else except a divine being, i.e. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقِّ. We will show them our signs in themselves and in the horizons. Still, they became sure that it is the truth. And you remember the very 3 verses that I kept always repeating, if you remember them. Richard Varley, when he was reading about, Quran contains, by the way, out of 6,300 plus verses of the Quran, about 1,000 contains what we say now, or what we call and describe now as applied science. Such as, for example, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَّقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Have the non-believers not seen that heavens and earth, they were one mass, and we split them into pieces, which is equal to what we call now as the Big Bang Theory. The other one, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ. Verily indeed, we have built heavens with might, and we are expanding, and we know that the universe is expanding now. Now, a third one, محمد عما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون كلا سيعلمون ثم ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا. Have we not made the earth smooth like a bed? And we قال والجبال أوتادا, and we have made mountains like pegs for the surface of earth. Who knew that? They have just discovered this 50 years ago. Like a wetted, you see? The earth, we know that the lava inside, and it's the melted rocks, and the surface of the earth basically is floating on a liquid. And one of the main reasons, like when you have the carpet now, sometimes on the edges of the carpet, they put a very, very sharp, pieces of metal, like pegs and wedges to fix it. It's exactly what happens. How did Muhammad ﷺ know that? And from the other examples, مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان. He merges the 2 bodies of fresh and salt water, yet between them is a barrier they never cross. When the water of the rivers meets with the water of the sea or the ocean, by the way, they do not mix. That's fair. It's amazing. And sometimes you have different seas, like for example, Mediterranean with, let's say, Pacific. Mediterranean or Pacific, صح? Morocco. I mean, now we can see it. We can realize it clearly through the submarines and through the satellites, different salicity, different كثافة الملوحة شو بالإنجليزي؟ Density and salicity. The density and the salicity, they do not, even the living creature inside this and this is different. And even the barrier between them, they have a third, different nature. It's amazing. How did Muhammad know these very, very, very tiny, what we call now very specific scientific things called about miracles? But now we can use, for example, what we call scientific miracles. And the other example, وهو الذي مرج البحرين هذا عذب فرات وهذا ملح أجاج وجعل بينهما برزخا وحجرا محجورا. And he is the one who merges the two bodies of water, one fresh and palatable and the other salty and bitter, placing between them a barrier they cannot cross. They do not mix. They do not cross. This water does not come to this water. La ilaha illallah. But how come? They are made of water. They do not cross. They don't. How did Muhammad know that? How can he challenge the people with that? And the other example, if you remember, أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. Do people think we cannot resemble their bones? In the hereafter, next time. Do people think we cannot resemble their bones? Yes, indeed. We are most capable of restoring even their very fingerprints. The unique fingerprints. When, I don't know when he might discover, but definitely it's just the decades. When they discovered that each one of us has a unique fingerprint. Allah was challenging them 1400 years ago. It's not just, I will bring you back to life. No, this very accurate thing, you will have again your unique fingerprints. Who didn't know that fingerprint is something challengeable to tell you, look, even that I will do. Allah knows the ghaib that we will discover that by His will, and this will be a sign. Oh my God, how did know? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the sign. This is part of سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين. We will show them our signs in the horizons and in themselves till it becomes clear for them that it is al-haq. Now, this is just Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Very quick reminder for all of us. Now, top. How does Allah know that even if He kept sending physical miracles, they will not believe? Simply Allah knows the ghaib. Allah knows the future. Another ayah, وَلَوْ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَابًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَظَلُّوا فِيهِ يَعْرُجُونَ لَقَالُوا إِنَّمَا سُكِّرَتْ أَبْصَارُنَا بَلْ نَحْنُ قَوْمٌ sinned. Still they would say our eyes have truly been dazzled. In fact, we must have been bewitched. Mashhurun. He's doing a great magic for us. We will nuts. Now, in light of all of these things, just to know that the matter of faith and belief, you need the little to accept, not necessarily the big physical things. Because who told you that even if you witnessed, you will believe? Now, while I was preparing this before I finish, I remember the very common question, what if Allah does exist, why Allah does not show Himself to us? Forget the miracles now. Many atheists, many non-believers, they keep saying, طيب يا عمي, if He does exist, يا عمي, let's solve the problem, خلصونا. يلا. Why Allah does not show Himself to us? You want to say something, brother?
We can't even look at the sun.
You can't what?
We can't even stare at the sun.
Who asks this will not think in this way. He will think in a way, why He is testing us, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, in this very wicked way. He does not appear to us. We can't see Him. We have to believe in Him, and we will be punished because we did not believe in Him, and simply let Him show us Himself and solve the problem, ya ammi. This is how they, how they highlight the problem. Look to this simple answer now. And wallahi, this is a common sense answer. Yes?
Because we have to believe without seeing Him. That's the test.
Yes, jazakumullah khair.
Once we see Him, then there's no test.
Yes, from one angle, faith means to accept something you don't see, at least physically and directly. So there is no test. But no, I want to tackle it from another point of view, because now I'm addressing atheists or rejectors or arrogant people. Now, this answer, true, but for a believer, just to understand. I want to use the approach of speaking with a rejecter or an attacker or a refuser or an arrogant person. Say, how come? You see, because sometimes they use this argument against simple, humble people to say, look, this is your religion. If Allah is let him show himself. What is he? Sometimes not everyone has the solid knowledge to defend himself. It's not necessarily. Look to this common sense answer. Right. Imagine that Allah did show himself to those people who asked, let's say, 1400 years ago. Okay, Allah decided to show himself, they saw him. Finished. Those who saw him, let's say they 10,000s. But next month, some people did not see him. They were asked to do what? They want to see him. Again, he showed himself. But their sons and daughters. Their sons and daughters. Their sons and daughters. So if you want to be just, Allah should be physically appearing 24/7, or otherwise anyone who missed the opportunity to see Allah physically will not be asked to accept Allah because he did not see him, which means Allah will be completely physically easy to approach 24/7. Are you with me? So, from one angle. Now, in our common sense, precious, valuable things, are they available, exposed in the streets, or hardly to approach? But let's talk about the kings, human kings. Can you see a king easily? Forget the media, not talk about the media. Physically, can you sit with a king easily? Can you approach a king easily? It's a simple, humble, common sense part of our understanding, and we accept this. If you are not just a king, if you are just an important person or a very rich person, very limited people will have the opportunity to approach you. True or false? What is the built-in thing that we accept and we do it and we apply it? Became a king, he will not allow anyone to come. He will say, hey, I'm not that cheap to be available 24/7. True or false? SubhanAllah. We accept this for us. We apply it for us. We do it and we consider it part of the prestige as normal human beings. When it comes to Allah, why Allah does not show himself? This same person, if he's the one who's asking the question, if he became very rich, very powerful, he will not allow anyone to come to him easily. Am I exaggerating? Well, this is part of what we do. It's sometimes you need this type of ways of answers for the youth, or for the one who does not have, maybe let's say, a common sense in the Islamic education. He just keep asking questions, because sometimes the question comes regardless where it comes from, but the question is here. Boom, boom, boom. So sometimes answering Wallahu A'lam. Right. So today I think I finished the most important points, just to make sure that I did not miss any point. Yes. To conclude, now this is the second or the third. I told you the ways of challenging Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, we have 4 types or 4 methods non-believers they used to stop the people to accept the da'wah and try to stop the da'wah. One of them the torturing, the other one temptations, maneuvering. Third one of today is khawariq, talab al-khawariq, the paranormal things, the physical miracles. Next time, inshallah, بإذن الله عز وجل, we will be talking about إثارة الشبهات الفكرية بقصد التشويش, highlighting this kind of intellectual doubts. If that's true, how come? Who told you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where's our forefathers? If this is the true religion, but those who passed away, what will happen to them? Like Fir'aun, when Musa alayhi salam was sent to him. What about our forefathers? What do you think about this? What happened to them? Sometimes when you are stuck in the corner and you know that this is truth, they start looking for others. We will see some examples this time, inshallah. For me, I finish today's session. Unless if you have questions, we will finish. تفضل دكتور ياسر.
Related to the same miracle of انشقاق القمر, since a lot of كتب السيرة they say it without details, like we don't know when it happens, who are the people who asked for it, and how Muhammad ﷺ did he stand up and say, look at the moon now it's splitting, now it's gonna get back. We don't know the reaction, physical reaction of the people at that time. I mean, for the best of my knowledge, I did not hear about these details. Does that make the story real, or it could it have something behind it?
It's narrated in the Bukhari.
Okay.
Highest authentic. Now, the fact that we don't have the tiny details, many things we don't have the details.
But this is, okay.
We don't have. But it happened. They asked him, and he did it. Why we don't have the very tiny details? I mean, because this could be applicable in tens of other things. Because other great things happened to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Why we don't have the tiny details? It's a great details about tens and hundreds of things. This is one of the great things. I mean, the point that the idea and the reply, it was mentioned in the Quran and in the authentic Sunnah. So I can give you like a methodological answer. Generally speaking, I think you were witnessing with us, we were talking about the stories in the Quran Kareem, al-Qasas al-Quran Kareem. Now, about a third of the Quran, Qasas, stories. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةً. Verily indeed, in their stories, they were what? Lessons. However, now in many times, you have a very great stories. You don't have tiny details. One of the greatest stories in the Quran, the biggest story, as a one solid story, is Surah Yusuf. If you want to ask the tiny details that really you would love to know, wallahi, you will kill yourself to know them. They are not mentioned. يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي. When did this happen? How old was he? What is the name of his brother? What is the exact names of them? Exactly what he was wearing when they went to to sell him, what they were wearing, what they were playing, where what exactly the place. They have many questions. We don't have the details. So what was the methodology? Whatever the Quran simply skipped, it means not important. And that's it in a very simple way. But for example, the greatest greatest test for Yusuf alayhi salam at that specific time, when she was trying to seduce him to commit the fahisha. What Quran said? استبق الباب قدت قميصه من دبر ألف يا سيدها لدى الباب. البكر قال هي راودتني عن نفسي. 2 words. But do you think in reality it's just 2 words? It's a huge event. The Prime Minister of Egypt. To him, his wife is claiming that the servant inside his house was about to do sexual harassment and to rape him. It's a disaster. We can imagine screaming and the people are crying and this kind of big lies. Women and servants are doing such and such. Her family came, we will nukassir, we will do, all these things happened. Yes. What did the Quran say? واستبق الباب قدت قميصه من دبر ألف يا سيدها لدى الباب. Immediately قالت ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك سوءا إلا أن يسجن. Subhanallah, it's amazing. ولله المثل الأعلى. This event which could have taken, I can imagine, at that time, maybe 2-3 hours, just at the time of the peak. Hundreds of thousands of statements they were said. The Quran gave us just less than 1 page. The cream of what we need. That's it. But what about the details? We don't know them. But why? No need. And this is the beauty of the Quran. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. It's exactly like, just give me 1 second. Exactly like وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. Just to make it simple. What makes the high prestigious cinematic footages in the big films, when you take a very quick very quick footage for seconds. Sometimes it gives you the face, the incidents, far, close, like this, finished. But if when they compare, for example, between Hollywood, and the old Arab industry in filming industry, you will see the discussion for 10 minutes for one simple point, while there 10 big events in 3 minutes. That's why you keep watching. You keep watching. While if you had the full details with the slow motion, Allah, بقول لك ايه يا جدع؟ هو انتوا رحتوا هناك ولا ما رحتوش؟ ابى اقول لك ايه؟ لا ما رحتوش، ابى اروح. طب you will feel bored, you will leave the film. Why? When you have action, screaming, jumping, killing, shooting, tap, 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 you take the idea, that's finished. I just finished. This is the Quran. Get my point? So I'm giving it from intellectual media, production point of view. Why details are not needed in the Quran itself. So in the Sunnah, it's close to that, especially when we have the very authentic. Wallahu a'lam. This is what I know. Wallahu a'lam. Another question? Sorry. Yes,
I just want to know, is it true that when they went to the moon, they found a line there that...
I don't know, to be honest with you. It's claimed yes, no. Simply, what I advise you, it's not a big deal for us, because we are not waiting anyone to give us the accreditation that did it happen or not. Who cares? If we were told, Allah told us it happened. Finished, close the file. Because, let's apply it, for example. Let's take it from a methodological point of view. Right. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He created the she-camel out of rock. And the she-camel was drinking a great amount of water. Someone say, okay, how can you prove it? Who told you that I need to prove it? Who told you? This is applicable. Okay, prove to me that Qawm 'Ad, they were cultivating the rocks and where are they? I don't need to prove that. Allah told me, I believe it. That's it. Because this is applicable in the whole idea of the ghaib. Right. How can we prove the tiny details that Allah told us about the beginning of the creation of Adam? That's why we need to... It's either you accept what Allah is saying or just refuse it. That's why we don't use scientifically approved in this way. Scientifically approved, this is used just in the applied science for physics, chemistry, biology, yes, but not in religion and faith. This is a big mistake that some people say. How can we prove it scientifically? How can you prove to me scientifically? One of the very, very funny things, very funny, that sometimes you have a debate with an atheist. You say, you Muslims, you believe in, and you believe. I said, okay. While he was speaking, he was quoting Plato. I said, do you believe that Plato did exist? He was a great philosopher. How did you know? Huh? How did you know that Plato existed? Huh? I'm asking, how you know? Everyone knows his book. Really? How did you know that this is his book? Huh? I'm asking, how did you know that Plato said such and such? Huh? They stopped. Do you need more simple test than that? They say, how do you believe in the unseen? How do you know that Plato? How do you know that all Greek philosophers did exist? How did you know? How do you know that those quotations that are attributed to them, they were said by them? Scientifically, how do you know? Can you prove it in the lab? I'm discussing with unbelievers now. I'm discussing with... once, for example, imagine now an atheist who respects Marx very much. Okay. So, do you respect Marx's way of understanding? Yes, he was a great man because he was the one who said that religion is the opium of people. Ad-Din, if you show. Hooray! I said, okay. How did you know that Marx said it? Everyone knows. Yeah, I'm sure everyone. Scientifically, how did you know? It is written in the book. How do you know that the book was written by him? Huh? Who told you that this book was written him? Everyone knows. Everyone knows. It's proved. Proved by who? Habibi, you were told that Marx did exist. You were told that this quotation or this statement or this book was written by him. What's the difference between you and me? Logically. Any difference? He's accusing me as a simple, backward, religious believer because I believe that someone has told me that something has happened some time ago. But you, Mr. Atheist or non-religious or fanatic secular, how do you know that those people did exist? You got my point? The same. That's why I keep telling my students, I say, what's scientifically approved is one of the biggest misleading quotations when we discuss religions. Scientifically approved. Say, yes, it's proved in science. You, how did you know? You as a person. You read in the website. How do you know that this website is telling the truth?
I trust the website.
You trust. But logically, scientifically, is it possible this website is a fake website?
Impossible.
You know, it's proved in Harvard. Okay, you, how did you know that Harvard proved it? They said it on their website. I read it in a book. How do you know scientifically that this book tells the truth? Everyone knows. When you tell me everyone knows, this is the tawatur, and this is the sahih that we believe in. Habibi.
Welcome.
Join the club. But the difference between you and me, that we have a methodology of filtering fake, bad, good, authentic from rubbish. While Habib Albi, you don't have this methodology. You accept everything as is. So everything for you, because you have no proof on earth that you can't scientifically prove that not even one quotation could be authentically attributed to Plato, who lived, thousands of years ago. How do you know? We have our narration system. We have our system. We have a science. You don't have it. You just know it in the book. You have no idea about that. We have it. Wallahu a'lam. This is our reply for, I don't know this question, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question or comment? Jazakumullah khair. See you next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Dalil Alulu.
Good.